Tynt Meadow English Trappist Ale, revisited.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. This is a special one that I've reviewed already, but I am revisiting. And the reason I'm revisiting it is because I tried this quite early in 2020 when I just started reviewing beer, and I hadn't really drank that many really good Belgian doubles or Trappist beers, and this really impressed me at the time. But I want to see now how it stands up amongst all the other Trappist beers, amongst all the other Belgian doubles that I've tried. Now, it really is one of the beers that I take an interest in because it's a genuine Trappist beer from the United Kingdom. Now, if you look at my other reviews of the Belgian Trappist beers, the Le Trapp stuff from the Netherlands, and even the stuff from America, the Spencer Brewery, they're all part of the Trappist Association, and they have this mark on the back of their label. If you can see that, I've got to take my head out of view because camera wants to focus on my boat race for some reason, don't know why. Could turn fucking milk sour, but they all have that. That's a genuine Trappist brewer hallmark, and they're part of an association. And when this monastery, I'll get onto the monastery in a minute, when they decided they needed another avenue to generate some income, all the other members of the Trappist Association mucked in and gave them a hand. But what I really like about this is it contains English malt, English hops, and an English strain of yeast as well. And that to me is just perfect, because I know Belgium have got the real heritage of Trappist brewing, and other nations have got their own Trappist brewers, like as I just mentioned, the Spencer Brewery in America and Le Trapp from the Netherlands, who are a really good, reputable Trappist brewer. It's good to know that the English have got a Trappist brewery as well, and it is a genuine Trappist brewer. If you look at the website, you can see the pictures of the monks actually brewing beer. What I really want to hammer home, and I do say this in all my videos when I'm reviewing Trappist beer, you will not see a picture of a monk, you will not see any crosses, you won't see any monasteries, you will not, it's very conservative, basically. That's what I'm trying to, the message I'm trying to get across. I mean, look at that, that is very basic. It's got the name of the beer, black and white, and English Trappist Ale, and it gives a little description of it, and that's it. And you've got some bump on the back, which I'll review in the next section. Even the cap, look, that's all they've got. Now that is how you know they are a genuine Trappist brewer, because it's very conservative. It's not in the style of monasteries or Trappist monks to be gaudy or get into the market in. You can bet your bottom dollar there hasn't been some marketing consultant that's got in touch with that lot. And I know for a fact there hasn't, because I read on the website, and I didn't really commit it to memory, but one of the monks in the brewery has designed this, and he's done it with, he's a proper calligrapher, and he's done this with his calligraphy tools, and he's come up with it, and I think it's absolutely amazing. Very understated, and that is how you can just tell the beer is good. Now, I'm not going to be pretentious and say, oh, I'm getting all these wonderful flavours, because I've reviewed it before, but I do remember it as being good. And the reason I'm revisiting is because I've tried a hell of a lot of Belgian doubles and dark beers, and some of the best ones I've tried from the most renowned brewers in Belgium, such as Chimay, Le Trappe, obviously they're from the Netherlands as well, the Rochefort and the Vesmal stuff as well. So I want to see how this stands up among all that lot. And it's something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I was looking at Beers of Europe and I see that come up and they had it in stock, and I thought, well, I'm going to do it because it's a good beer from what I remember. And another good thing about it is as well, it was available. They've become a little bit of a victim of their own success because this beer is so good. A lot of people in the United Kingdom are buying this up because it's not, I don't think it's as expensive as some of the Belgian stuff. And I think it's great. I think it's absolutely fantastic what they're doing. They are actually a monastery, a Benedictine monastery, and they're known as, is it Cistercians or something? I can't pronounce it. I think that's what they're known as. They follow the Benedictine order. They couldn't name the beer St Bernardus for obvious reasons, because there is a beer called St Bernardus which isn't really a Trappist brewer, but they've decided to call it Tynt Meadow from the region that they're based, and they're based in a place called Colville, which is in Leicestershire. Now, I've got a mate that lives in Colville, and I've been up there, and it's a bit of a rough town, and it's an ex-mining town as well, hence the name Colville. Ville, obviously in French, means town, and it was Colville. I think that, I do remember there's, if not a coal mining museum, there's a lot of statues and monuments to the miners of that town, and that's based in Leicestershire. But I've played a couple of pubs up there, and yeah, it's pretty rough up Colville. I've got a couple of mates that live up there, and they're Leicester City fans. They can't help that, but there you go. So, with that in mind, let's get this investigated. Right, this is a 330ml bottle. It's 7.4%, so it's pretty hefty. Usual fare for a Belgian double. And this is really popular. I want to give you a little bit more history. I should have done this in the last section. This is really popular in the Netherlands and in Belgium as well. But it's quite hard to get hold of because obviously a lot of people over here want to drink it. And the brewery that they've got in that monastery, they've always said that it's not going to overtake what they're doing. I mean, their primary goal is to be monks. This is just a source of income for them to keep the monastery going. They do have other hands in other pies as well. I think they do food, cheeses and stuff like that, like most monasteries do. But they are actually a part of the Trappist Association. They've been there since, I think it's 2017, and the first bottle of this stuff was on sale from 2018. So, impressive. It contains the ingredients, water, barley malt, sugar, hops, yeast, and that's it. It does contain all English ingredients, as I've just mentioned, and it is a good beer from what I remember. But I want to see how it tastes. So let's shut up and let's get it open because I cannot wait. Right, just to add insult to injury, I'm using a leather glass, and the reason is because the other glass is in the dishwasher. I've just tried the Brave and Apostle stuff, the triple. That was fantastic. If you get a chance, try that stuff. It was great. One of the best triples I've tasted so far this year. Brave and Apostle, very good brewery. Anyway, enough about that. Let's get this open and see what's going on. Didn't fizz up. Yeah. English Reserve there. The Belgian stuff just wants to get out of the bottle. Now this is just at the right temperature. I've had this sitting for a while. Unfortunately the head is going to die. Oh well. God, I can smell it from here, and it's just a mass of fruit. Oh, that smells absolutely fucking divine. There's a little bit of ethanol on there, I'm getting that, but there's just an absolute ton of fruit. It's like a sweet cherry, sweet dark cherry aroma. There's that ethanol aroma to it too, like spirit alcohol that's coming through. Quite sweet. I am getting the sugar as well. And I never made this comparison last time I tried it, but this could pass as an old ale. And I've always said in all the reviews that I've done of Belgian doubles and the Belgian Trappist brown ales and stuff, I've always said if you're a fan of English old ale, you're going to like this. And that's what I'm getting from this as well. Malt forward, big alcohol, tons of dark fruit. But this is exceptionally rich. It's one of them beers that you know is going to be great just from the aroma. And if the aroma is anything to go by, the flavour is going to be absolutely amazing, which I know it is. This honestly, I'm not just saying this because it's an English beer, but if this was a Belgian beer, you would immediately know this was something special. And it goes to show, if you really put your mind to it and you want to produce a good beer, if that's your intention, then you can in this country. The ingredients are there. So, shall I go into a rant here? Yeah, fuck it, I will. I'm of the opinion that most British people haven't tasted good beer. And the reason is because a lot of brewers over here, a lot of them powerful brewers over here, do not give a shit. They will serve up any old crap. It's like the politics in this country. They will just serve up any old crap, and most people will just lap it up. And I think it's a shame, because if they really were introduced to good beer, there would be a demand for good beer, and shit like the big brewers are serving up now will just get avoided, like the Marstons and the Abbey InBevs and the Molson Coors and all that lot. Why am I even mentioning this when I'm talking about Tynt Meadow? I mean, this is just light years away from that nonsense. Oh, it smells so good. I've never done this with a beer before, but if I could just sit here and sniff it, I'd be happy. It smells so good. I'm going to just have to dive in there now. There's no head on it, but that really doesn't bother me. It does remind me of an English old ale, both in aroma and in appearance as well. So with that in mind, let's get it down the hatch. Bottoms up. That is superb. It's even better than I remember it. But you know what I really like about it? It's more of an old ale than it is a Belgian double. And I can see why the Belgians would like it. This really has got an English stamp on it. It's like the best old ale you've ever tasted. There is an air of ethanol running all the way through it. The malts are quite big on this. The body isn't as big as some Belgian doubles, and I don't know whether that's because I don't think there's any wheat in this, or oats or anything like that. No, water, barley malt, sugar, hops and yeast. Yeah, so it's the bare bones. I find Belgian doubles have got more body than this, but in its own right, This is absolutely perfect. The sugar's nice as well because it's invert sugar as opposed to candy sugar. Now you could argue the toss, the two are the same, the two are a form of caramelised sugar. They go through a different process. It's a bit more forward in the Belgian stuff. This is a little bit more reserved, and as I say, I'm going to keep repeating this, but this is a lot more like an English old ale, a really good one. If you can imagine Old Peculiar, you're sort of in the same region, but I think when you taste this, you can sort of see there's been a little bit more craft applied to it. Now, when I say craft, I mean I do mean it has been crafted. There's been a care taken when it's been brewed, and it's not brewed on a massive scale. And the brewers who are brewing this beer really do care about what they're doing, because it is basically the bread and butter of the monastery that they live and work in and worship in as well. Big caramel malt, and I do mean big, bordering on toffee. In fact, I would say it's sort of 50-50. The toffee malt on that really does shine through on the finish, but there's a ton of dark fruit on that as well, on the palate, but it doesn't leave any bitter aftertaste or anything like that. There's none of the, you know, with them roasted malts, sometimes you get like a bitter coffee or dark chocolate type finish. You don't get anything like that whatsoever. Oh, it's just so good. This really is like the best old ale you've ever tasted. This is like a quality old ale. I'm glad it's in 330ml, because this is not one for chugging. I know it's 7.4, you wouldn't do that, but you really need to savour the flavour on this, because there is a ton of it. This is beer done right. It really is good. There's always that big seam of ethanol through that may put a few people off, but not if you're into your barley wines or old ales, as I keep saying. It really is that good. In fact, but what I really like about it is it's a Trappist beer, but it's so English in its style. Yet I can see what they're doing, but this is the perfect example. When I talk about doubles, Belgian doubles, and I compare them to old ales, this is what I'm imagining in my head, and it's superb. It really is absolutely amazing. One of the best beers I've ever tasted. Fantastic. So what's the verdict on Tynt Meadow Revisited? Even better than I remember. And the reason I'm saying it's even better is because, you know, well, it must be nearly a year since I reviewed this. I can't remember the last review, what month it was, but I do remember it being good. But it really does stand out as being a fantastic beer. I don't care whatever style of beer you call it. I think if you don't like this, then I would question your taste in beer. It's superb. It really is. This is beer brewed properly, and I'm not saying that as I really want to reiterate this point. If this beer had come from Germany, if this beer had come from Belgium, and here it is, I'll lay the fucking cards on the table. If this beer had come from France, I would have said this is an outstanding beer, because good beer is good beer. Doesn't matter where it comes from. I doubt the frogs will come up with something like that, but it really is good. But it's got such an English character to it, which I really like. You know, it could have been so easy for them to just copy the Belgian double style, you know, import the candy sugar or even cultivate Belgian yeast, but they've done it all by themselves. And you've got to remember, they've done this in the space of what? That was 2017 when they started doing it, so 2009, 20, 4 years. 4 years that they've come up with something like that. And it's not even that, because this went on sale in 2018. So you could argue that it was a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And yeah, they brew one beer. That's all they need to do, because that is fucking superb. It really is. It's 10 out of 10 all day long. It's even better than I remember, and it's going to go down as one of my favourite English beers of all time. It's superb. I cannot emphasise how good this beer is, and I'm not just saying it because it's a Trappist beer. I don't care if they had a picture of, you know, the old Tennent's cans with the women on the front. If that's what it tasted like, that would still be a fantastic beer. But it is. It's just everything about it. The conservative labels, the fantastic beer that they produced, but in an English style with English ingredients. And the fact that the Belgians are having trouble getting hold of it is even better, because you know how hard it is to get some of the Westvalletta and stuff and all that. I've never tasted the Westvalletta and stuff, but I think we're okay with this. That is 10 out of 10. If I could give it 11 out of 10, I would. That is superb. I highly recommend you get hold of some of this. I don't care where you come from, Germany, Belgium, Holland, wherever. You need to try this. One of the beers to try before you die. It is superb. That is the best of British. And remember, beer is working class champagne.